Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another round of European Highlander with the homies. I'm Nemi. Nice to see you all again, and today joining me I have the wonderful Gerion.
Hello, everybody. I am very excited to see some Jeskai Magic versus Bloodhoof Magic by Daniel on our right side with the beautiful, beautiful leather armband on that beautiful, beautiful clock.
He is a very beautiful man.
Very, very well dressed, accessorized even. Against
Yes.
Hendrik on our left side with a very, very nice Doctor Who playmat. I think.
That's true.
Nice
I
touch.
have to say as well, speaking of very beautiful things, I'm gonna go ahead and give pre-props to Hendrik, even though we haven't seen this match play out yet, but I know that he has put a lot of love into this hoof list, and basically every card in there is alt altered.
Oh, damn.
What? Like full art. Kind of just expanding the artwork to every single mana dork that taps on turn one is covered in the most scintillant of colors and exudes just the love and attention that he's put into this deck list.
Very nice. Well, I'm excited to see that because I have not seen that deck at all.
Mm.
I have not had the pleasure to play against Hoof, and I have not had the pleasure to play against Hoof at all. So
In a long time.
no,
Oh, at
ever,
all.
ever.
Wow.
So
Never.
Jeskai is a deck that I think is very straightforward.
Mm.
If you say I'm on Jeskai, people know what you mean without any mid-range aggro control.
Oh, I thought you meant it's easy to play because it's blue.
No, I don't even think it's that easy to play. I think that but it's like you play the counter spells, you play the brand spells, you play the white removal, and then that's what you do. And different lists have different threat and answer compositions, but that's
Yep.
basically what you do. Hoof, on the other hand, what does that do?
Yeah, Hoof, there it is. So
Hoof,
our
where it
deck
is?
list based on one standout card, which is Crater Hoof Behemoth,
Mm-hmm.
a giant green
Mm-hmm.
creature with haste that comes in, gives your whole team plus X,
Does it
where X is the number of creatures you control.
looks like a very smug
Uh,
frog, right?
I guess you could say that, yeah. No, but this hoof list is kind of trying to start the game off with a mana dork on turn one, and on turn two you play another two mana dorks, and then turn three, you're almost ready to slam that creature with an attack for lethal. But it plays just a lot of really solid green base green cards, but it's splashing for a bunch of things. You have like a white for a Knight of the Reliquary
Mm-hmm.
in there, which gets you Gaia's Cradle, which lets you ramp out your Craterhoof a lot faster. You have red for the Morlocks and the Minskin Booze.
Right.
You have, I think, black for like maybe he's on a grist or
Maybe on a
you
demonic
want some
tutor.
hand attack perhaps. A demonic tutor couldn't hurt. So it's a kind of a mid
Yeah.
range with a combo finish list. And will be interesting to see how that plays out. Always difficult to combo off against a deck with counter spells.
Exactly, and removal like that.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't see a Forkbolt. That's good for Hendrik. But I do see a Ragavan turn one. That is
Yeah.
that is going to be interesting because with Daniel on the play, yes, he mulligan to 6, but if he can remove that Lanoa elf that Hendrik just played,
Mm.
and
Which is not altered. I'm extremely disappointed.
especially you hyping it up so hard.
Yeah.
Um, well, it is the best art, so we give it that. But if Daniel is able to like do something to that Lanoa elf, an unspeakable thing even, that would be so gas. As we see the Swords to Plowshares drawn just this turn,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Dania
and now that's in.
feels priced into removing this, of course. And wow, that's a dark depth. Okay, it looks like we have the depths combo as well
What?
in
Okay,
this hoof
not
list.
what I
That's
expected.
another out. Yeah, not what I expected as well. Maybe he's on prime
And
time to
did
get
you see
that.
the Urza Saga just drawn?
I did not. I'm sorry.
So we see Urza Saga and Dark Depths. Very interesting
That's
combination.
a pretty greedy mana base, I have
Hmm.
to say. I don't know how many lands he's rocking, but maybe you rely on those elves really to get you there.
Hmm.
I was gonna ask you a question, which is, let's say that Daniel doesn't have removal for the elf,
Yeah.
and he has this
Yeah. Right.
Ragavan.
Do you attack
Do you
in there?
attack with the Ragavan into the elf? Probably. If you don't have the removal, you want them to take the trade. But do you, as Hendrik, take the trade? Or do you take a hit from Ragavan? I don't know. It's a really interesting question. I would probably take
Yeah.
the trade most of the time.
I
Um,
think even for Hendrik you take the trade.
mm,
Because Daniel getting a treasure. I think it's not even about the card, right? I think it's really about the treasure. Just giving Daniel so many options to both develop threats and have removal up or counter spells up. Knight of the Reliquary.
yep. And this one definitely altered.
Mm-hmm.
And just looks gorgeous. It's gonna grow for every land that is in your graveyard, and you're able to sack away your plains and forests to get other lands that you might care about, like the Depths stage combo, or that Gaia's Cradle, like we
Yeah.
mentioned. A good road blocker as well for this Ragavan now, and Daniel fresh out of Swords to Plowshares,
Fresh out of the Swords to Plowshares.
attacking into it though,
Beautifully,
which
I do want to say, hand altered from a time where Wizard did not provide us from full arts. With full arts,
true.
it's when we had to do our
Yeah.
full arts by hand.
I think that the hand altered ones look so much
Yeah,
nicer than
it's a
the printed
lost
full art
tradition,
ones.
if you will.
Yeah, it's lost a bit of its luster. Wow, Hendrik decides not to take that trade. I guess, this was the
Wait,
most
no, no, no,
telegraphed.
no. I think he did block it because that
Oh, okay.
Ragavan
I
is now
I
in the
thought he
graveyard.
was I thought he was moving to exile a card from his library there just.
Interesting.
Okay, was it
So
just a
a
oh,
bluff, a
okay.
gamble?
It was a bluff?
Maybe that's the
Wow.
punt that you were talking about earlier.
Maybe that is the
Because he
month.
didn't see that it's a tutu, but
Off camera we were talking about Daniel remembering that he punted this game and that it haunted him for a while. So I hope he feels better by now.
yes.
Re-seeing this might not help, but he did absolutely destroy me in our earlier match.
Hendrik is on
So
Dryad Arbor. Dryad Arbor also a point of contention.
oh
Because Dryad Arbor is really powerful if you tutor it up with your Green Sun's Zenith. So having Dryad Arbor in your deck lets your Green Sun's Zenith ramp you on turn 1 for 1.
yeah,
But Dryad Arbor, being a land that is also a 1/1 creature, is extremely vulnerable to just any removal spell. But here is a Court of Garenbrig, which puts +1/+1 counters on creatures. Those creatures can also be your Dryad Arbor.
I guess that's true. I mean, at this point, what it does is take the monarchy, and that is surely going to Daniel next turn,
Mm-hmm.
as this true name Nemesis is going to be coming in, taking Hendrik's lunch money, and taking the card
And the
draw as
crown.
well. They might
Uh,
go, they might go back and forth with this one for a few turns.
but it's interesting because
Oh, beautiful wasteland.
with with Daniel deploying that true name Nemesis, it's basically like, hey, here is a forever clock.
Yep.
And Hendrik basically now needs to figure out how can I raise this. And there are many
Yep.
ways to raise this. But of course, with Daniel being on a Jeskai deck, well, also has some abilities to pressure or disrupt Hendrik. It's more difficult if you have only
Yeah.
one land, though.
That definitely, like, we see maybe another aspect of this hoof list, which is if your opponent is ever stuck on resources, you can actually play the tempo game because you have these mana dorks giving you extra mana,
Mm-hmm.
and you're perfectly fine sacrificing some of your resources to get that wasteland and snipe off Daniel's lands. Maybe he's also on the red splash for Ren in 6. I'm actually not sure about that one, um, but definitely a strong position for him now, even though Daniel is
Swinging in.
way ahead in the
Mhm.
damage race. I think this is already getting quite scary.
Yeah.
With the Court of Garenbrig also adding some more damage to this clock, and yeah, I think
Yeah.
Daniel is like already in a spot where he has to think about holding back this True Name Nemesis just
Yeah.
to stall a blocker, and Yeah, Hendrik has a grip full of cards. I see a Palace Jailer there as well.
Yeah.
Danny really has to find another land to be able to unlock some spells.
But even then, like he has like the spells I see the spell pierce, which is
Hmm.
right now in this
Not the
situation.
best against that deck.
Well,
Oh,
never
never
mind.
mind. Never mind. The genius spell pierce on Sylvan.
Guardian. The genius spell pierce. There is lands in hand, right? I see a fetch land and a tundra.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true. Yeah, and a mental node now, just getting those extra
yeah,
lands out
nice.
of there on top of the deck, and hopefully drawing another one.
We're looking for just something to do with this board, and I mean, I think a solitude would be nice. I can.
Solitude. I mean, anything that takes care of like one of these creatures would be really helpful. This Knight of the Reliquary still representing another land sack for another land that Hendrik might be able to get, and this Urza Saga also able to make constructs now. So Daniel really under the gun. Let's
Yeah.
see if he's able to leverage this 1 mana source he found now.
I'm not seeing many cards in his list that really necessarily deal with what we're seeing here. There's like the prismatic ending,
The swords is already out.
and there's a path left.
Mm.
And then of course Terminus, but and with Terminus in deck mystical, but
There might be a Brazen Borrower to bounce something, for example, where the counter spells in his hand might be able to interact with it again. But yeah, Daniel already has to decide now to leave this True Name Nemesis back. Can't take the punishment. But wow, is still going to be taking so much damage just from these creatures getting buffed up by the Court of Garenbrig.
what is it? What's the
Maybe
power right now
the
on?
control matchup kind of reason you have this court in here, to be honest.
Fair.
To force trades. It's like you can't play White Plume, but you can play turn 3 Court of Garenbrig.
I mean,
Sorry, what were you asking
no,
about?
I'm curious about the power and toughness of the Knight of the Reliquary.
There is a die on there, but I can't tell what that is. If I look at the yard, I see fetch land, basic. We know the wasteland is in there as well. So it's at least a 5/5, and then it also has counters from the Court of Garenbrig. So it's probably at least a 7/7.
Yeah. So
And
with
this
the
Sylvan, sorry, not Sylvan Character. This Dryad Arbor is also a 5/5 at this moment. We will also be able to get a Shadow Spear, I presume, with this Urza Saga if that True Name Nemesis does end up
disgusting.
blocking the way.
yeah, that's tough.
Well, Questing Beast, don't worry about it. Deciding to Worldly Tutor for that, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
That does go on top of the deck and not into
The
hand. But, you know, we play a little fast and loose here.
Exactly. Especially, I am okay. I'm getting a bit lost here where we are at exactly because he worldly tutored, but now he's tutoring again.
Yeah, that looks like a not a fetch land, but that was activation of the Knight of the Reliquary.
Yeah, for sure. But like, I presume.
I think we're still in his main phase,
like as
he hasn't attacked it with the Dryad Arbor either.
No, what I was wondering is like, okay, did he upkeep worldly tutor? Like I'm assuming
That's very possible actually, and now he gets to play this Questing Beast, and smash through that True Name Nemesis. That was a really good call to fetch that one up.
Yes.
As the Questing Beast text, one of the millions.
Yeah, please by heart.
Lines of text on
without
that
reading
thing is-
without reading Questing Beast. Can you? What actually is on Questing Beast? I know Vigilance and Haste is two of them.
Yeah, Vigilance, Haste, Death Touch. It can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. If it hits a player, it also deals damage to that planeswalker that player controls, and damage can't be prevented. So actually one of the few cards that gets around the True Name Nemesis having protection and not being able to block.
Damage in general cannot be prevented, or damage by Questing Beast?
Oh my god, you're really putting me to the test here, huh?
Because
I don't know.
I believe
don't know.
it's
Our
pretty-
viewers will see on the card reader.
Yeah, fair. Um, because I presume it's not a global effect on Question Beast. Well, um, tough spot for
Oh yeah,
Mr. D.
really tough spot. Was able to deal now with this Dryad Arbor, but wow, we have the Questing Beast coming in.
He's
Oh
on
no, wasn't
4.
able to. Sorry, he blocked the Dryad Arbor.
Yeah,
Got hit by the Questing Beast. But even if he blocks with the Dryad Arbor, maybe it's just Questing Beast damage can't be prevented. Okay, fine. I'm looking it
I
up.
do believe so. I do believe so, just because it would be kind of weird to have Questing Beast have a global effect as opposed to like just something that focuses on its own
No,
body.
combat damage that would be dealt by creatures you control can't be prevented. So yeah, that Dryad Arbor would have been able to
Smack,
smack that True Name Nemesis around, that fish.
smack that.
It's probably the
Um,
biggest Dryad Arbor that has ever existed.
tough.
It's got to be up there.
Got to be up there. Big, big droid arbor.
But yeah, scoop from Daniel. I can totally understand that it was painful to have that Ragavan go into
Yeah,
the Knight of the Reliquary. Probably just miscounted how big that was. Didn't see the land in the yard or something
yeah,
like
indeed.
that. But I'm sure he can rally for game two. I know this Jeskai list is something he is extremely well versed in. It's one
Mm-hmm.
of his
Mm-hmm.
babies, and
Has been playing with it a lot.
yeah, I mean you'll have heard us
I have,
talk about
yeah,
gush about his list
for sure.
in round number
With
one,
not only Mantis Rider, but also
but
Lightning
also
Angel.
Lightning Angel, the original Mantis Rider. Yeah, let's see if he can rally a comeback here. Same for Hendrik though, as far as I know. This
Yeah,
hoof list has been something he's worked for quite a while, and I think he used to be on Nadu with it, but of course with the banning that came out now, Nadu no longer legal in the format,
yeah.
and I think this tourney was even on the day before the ban actually came into effect, but Hendrik still already decided to say, Nadu's out,
That's out.
no reason to play with her anymore
I do not have
if
any sentimental
she
value
doesn't
attached to it.
she, she doesn't get to be in the deck that much longer anyways, and yeah, Daniel having to go down to 6,
As he did
painful,
last
but
time.
I think still okay.
Yeah.
If you want to put away a 7 that you're not happy with, go for like a 6. You have a lot more potential to find something relevant in the matchup.
And I think especially here it's so important to have your very early piece of actual removal interaction. He's on the
Yeah,
play, yes, but having a hand that contains spell pierce, spell snare, and like a I don't know, abhorrent oculus or something like that is really not something that you want to keep, even if it's 7.
yeah, exactly. You want to be on that mental misstep, lightning bolt,
Yeah,
just anything to clear the first 1 or 2 mana dorks.
exactly.
Whether or not you have a Ragavan that wants to get through. I see a mana drain now. That's something that could potentially be a big game later on, as
Hmm.
Hendrik, as we talked about, might be trying to resolve something big like a Crater of Behemoth, which, if you mana drain it,
Wow, that's
you can untap
juicy.
and cast forth your Lingus
Nice.
for an ungodly
But this
amount.
is also
And that's a Tamio.
really strong for Daniel. Both games
Mm.
getting to start out with a
Oh,
beautiful.
look at that Elvish Mystic. I mean,
Yeah, what can you say?
what what more can you
That's
ask
not even
for?
extended art. That's the absolute mega full art.
That's mega extended, ultra full art, deluxe
No, this
premium.
is European Highlander. Sorry,
Oh, I'm so sorry. That's my bad.
it's not extended.
Yeah, this Tamio gets to swing in. Let's see if there is a removal spell for that. Elvish Mystic doesn't look
No,
like
there's
it, but
not. But
maybe Daniel has interaction up to
presenting for
counter.
sure. Presenting for sure.
He's
Some protection.
presenting. Yep.
Representing a mana leak. It's not. It's not quite mana drain that he can play. I did not
Yeah.
see if he has a second blue source or not, but for sure Hendrik is now here, being like, okay, do I play my Knight of the Reliquary in that, or do I not?
Well, see, you gotta play something, but if he can, I'm sure he would like to double spell this turn and maybe develop. And I see a Delighted Halfling
Mm-hmm.
there. That could be a good idea to,
To bait.
kind of tax Daniel's interaction that
Mm-hmm.
he's representing here by just playing like Delighted Halfling and a 2-drop
Hmm.
or something like that. Um, yeah,
Let's see. I
let's see
mean,
what it is.
I didn't see the other cards. Um,
Yeah, we know there's a knight, there's a
yes,
Delighted Halfling,
uh, there's an ancient tomb,
and
I
then
thought.
there's other cards in the hand as well.
And I think with the
That
ancient
might
tomb,
be
yeah. Well, he does
Augur
play
of
him out.
Autumn.
And now, does he have it?
It doesn't look like there was. Okay, oh, he's just cracking
Cracking
the
the
clue. All right.
clue.
That's pretty weak play from Daniel. Has to feel
Mm,
like he dodged a bullet on Hendrik's side there,
yeah.
getting to resolve that one.
Well, I do
Yeah, let's hope that
see.
Daniel has another land drop to
He,
make
he
this
does
through.
have the sunken into stupor.
Ah, okay, yeah.
But
Soporific Springs, I believe,
wow,
is the backside of that.
good call. They're very good. Well, I only commentate with the most competent of people.
Sorry, why are we commentating?
Why am I on the mic? Oh, sorry.
It's
Which
a witch
enchant?
blessed meadow. What, you don't know the backside name of that one?
I have
Oh,
you for the
Three Fairy,
names.
alright.
Yes, and I think that's also really
Oh,
really
but do you
fine
attack with the
sequence.
Tamio now?
Mm,
That I think that's actually a good question. I would probably not attack here just to maintain, yeah, and he just passes.
oh, to not.
Make sure that
Mm,
that Elvish Mystic doesn't get the 3 fairy off the board.
that's very interesting. There's the ancient tomb.
Hmm.
So
I thought it was just an old tomb, but you're right.
no,
That
it is
one
really like
does look
it
ancient.
belongs in a museum.
Original artwork, very nice. As
And what do we
Daniel and
see?
his beautiful watch just biding their time. And Barrel Goyf hitting the field now.
That's
Also in some interesting foil treatment.
so you described the game plan of the hoof deck, and right now I'm
Mm.
seeing it mostly just being a blood deck with mana dorks.
Yeah, that's what we talked about earlier, right? Is like
Uh-huh.
this hoof deck has multiple gears that it can shift between.
Yeah.
One of them is Mana Dork, Mana Dork, Mana Dork, you know, Finale of Devastation or something
Mm-hmm.
like that,
Mm-hmm.
get hoof.
Mm-hmm.
But another gear is just I go elf into 3-drop, like the Gruul Monsters approach, but you have a wider range of colors that you're splashing for because of this density of dorks.
Oh,
That Barrogoyf now gonna hit
the
the
bin.
bin after Flame Slash singes the hairs off its back. But this is probably the more preferred approach actually
Yeah.
against a deck like Daniel that has counters to instead of trying to go for counter a counterable line like Craterhoof,
Yeah, just playing the mid-range game against the control
just
deck.
playing the
Mm.
mid-range game plan. You know, accelerate your mana, deploy 2 threats per turn if you can, and yeah, sometimes you lose to Terminus, but as long as you are the one putting the pressure on, and Daniel has to spend his turns just removing something
Yeah.
that you did, you're pretty happy with that one. Now playing this White of the Reliquary again into open mana. This one is kind of an inverted Knight of the Reliquary. You
Oh,
can sack creatures
I didn't even make
to
out that it's
get
not the
that.
Knight of the Reliquary, but rather than
I mean,
it.
if you pay attention to the artwork and the flavor text, it is the same Knight of the Reliquary. It's just been zombified.
Just been zombified. The people. Oh my God,
Okay.
he's on the
Lightning
boots.
Greaves. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if this is still a remnant from the Nadu days,
Yeah,
but
fair, true, fair.
once this equips to the White of the Reliquary,
Oh, not
this is going to be a pretty big threat
not fair.
if
It's
Daniel isn't able to counter
the
it.
boots with the fur.
Oh, I'm
I'm
yes,
sorry.
and thank you for correcting me.
For correcting myself. Um, I do think. Oh, interesting.
There's the Sink into Stupor to put that spell back into Hendrik's hand from the stack.
Yeah, so that he can't
No
tutor.
apple bottom genes for you yet.
I'm trying to find this. Sink into super, return target spell or non-land permanent an opponent controls to its owner's hand. Trying to get back into the tempo game, having deployed
Yeah,
one threat, having
It's
deployed.
the worst reprieve of all time.
Oh. Oh. Right.
Yeah, there was still two
Right.
mana dorks open.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Oh god, now
I
that
did not
white
see
is going to
that.
be able to attack Teferi, clear him off.
That's
This
tough.
this was a swingy turn for sure. I mean, Daniel probably felt like he had to spend that interaction spell because he was holding it up, but
Hmm.
you're definitely not happy with that one. I wonder if
But he had the mana drain though,
I,
right?
he did have the mana drain, you're right. Maybe just not seeing those two elves in play. He could have also
Mm,
sunken into stupor the white of the reliquary, and because that one also bounces non-land permanents, and then wouldn't have been able
true,
to replay that.
true.
But okay, we have an Ajani hitting the board now. The Tamio was able to chump block to keep
Yeah,
this Teferi alive,
yeah.
and this Ajani now, of course, a great roadblock as long as he's able to keep that cat alive and make sure it dies to his advantage. Ajani happily sacrificing his brother to
Happily.
flip himself over.
I think now, with the white active though, that also spells difficulty Caracas.
Yeah, bounce that Ajani, I guess.
But then you can replay it. I guess, I mean,
Yeah,
he's on way less resources. He has less lands.
yeah.
Therefore, like, just being like, okay, cool. You can replay it. That's fine. Your little 2/1s aren't going to phase me anyways. With this
Yeah,
big,
but
big, big
those
hitter.
little 2/1s do stand in the way of this Teferi getting cleared.
Yeah, true.
I mean, I don't know. It seems like it's like a weird parity thing where your opponent gets value, but
Mm-hmm.
you get like minuscule tempo, I guess. But these lightning greaves, man, like Jeskai, that's probably a awful card for your
Yeah,
opponent to have in play against you. I
yeah.
do agree that maybe that one should have been mana leaked, just because it now disables all future
Mm.
interaction. And there's the Knight of the Reliquary, so
Future and past
yeah.
combining.
Or where's the Reliquary
The
uh
tower?
of the present? That's a mana
Where's
drain on that one now. Okay.
the reliquary
So we
tower
have
here?
three colorless mana in the pool for next turn. Still hoping for a fourth Yalingas or something massive
And what am I seeing in the hand
to
here?
make use of it.
Not much. There's the bounce on the
Hmm.
Ajani,
Yeah.
which, like, now we're in a funny situation where it's basically each turn, um, this one Caracas mana will bind to Ajani mana, and the
Yeah,
white will
it's true.
continue to run into cats.
So as long as Daniel keeps making land drops, he's, you don't love it, but I don't think you hate it. He
Yeah.
gets to spend two of that colorless mana here to replay it.
The big issue is that
Spend one of that
the
colorless
white
mana.
gets to continue to turn mana dogs into lands that have utility beyond tapping for mana.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, this Elvish Mystic is actually also just interesting in that it can attack the Teferi to stop that from taking up every turn,
yeah,
because if you let this Teferi take up every turn, bounce the Ajani, it makes a cat, it blocks the white of the Reliquary, then eventually that 3 fairy is going to be able to bounce something again, draw an extra card.
yeah,
Although not the white, of course, as that is shrouded
for now.
for now. Unless he de-equips it, which
I mean, yeah,
I
there's the
have,
same
I have a
visions.
hard time imagining that he would, unless there's like
A
a
better.
very good turn lined up
Hmm.
by giving it to something else. But
Hmm.
no need to expose yourself if, well, I guess please don't expose yourself in general. No need to expose that white to any potential
At
removal.
mana games, no exposition here.
Yeah, I
That's
know we saw a lightning helix in Daniel's hand. That's looking
decently
not
mediocre.
super impactful right now.
It
Let's see what the Serum Vision
oh,
finds.
it found a Darcy
A
Dragon's
Dragon's
Rage
Rage Channeler.
Chandelier.
Yeah,
Well,
Human Shaman.
I mean,
Okay,
if
Teferi's
Daniel
uptaking.
ever finds a whatchamacallit, a removal spell for the white, he can bounce the boots, and then he can skin that white for his fur.
Oh, you're right. Actually, he can just bounce the boots with Teferi.
Correct.
He can bounce the boots and counter them on the way back down.
Correct.
Interesting.
But like, so the way that I see Daniel get out of this is bounce the boots, kill the white, counter the boots. But
Yeah.
It's a bunch of cards.
Well, the bounce
Ooh.
the boots, the
Ooh.
boots he already has the boots bouncers.
Hmm.
And in hand for Hendrik, I see an Augur of Autumn, I think an Eladamri's Call.
I saw a Court of Groundbreak again,
Oh, Court of Iron Break,
which
alright.
is really gonna swing it all around. But
Yeah,
he's
that one would be a powerful one for Hendrik for sure.
curiously limited.
Taking another damage set from this Ancient Tomb? And that's an opposition agent.
Yeah, I mean that's a creature that's gonna
Okay.
smash.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't think I would personally re-equip here now.
No, I think that would be insane. You really don't want
But
to
you-
expose this white.
Yeah, I agree, but you would get the Teferi.
I mean, you would get the Teferi under the condition that Daniel's remaining 2 open mana, which
Yeah.
are
And 3 hands as the
the
3 cards in hand.
colors that he would need for a removal spell aren't able to interact with this, and we already know that Daniel has the Lightning Helix in hand, so would for sure be able to take out that opposition agent on a de-equip. Now, Johnny getting bounced again, yes. We've seen this show before.
It's
That
the
opposition agent was
circle
not flashed
of
in
life.
last turn, but this turn. It is the Circle of Life.
Yeah, it's a big cat.
That's white eating another cat for breakfast.
It's very Lions King.
This is a very interesting position. It's like
Yeah.
a weird board stall.
Yeah.
But this Oppo now also preventing, a mystical tutor for Terminus
Yeah.
or something like that from digging Daniel out of this situation. Wow. Okay, the Elvish Mystic
Did
also
attack,
attacked
yeah.
Teferi.
Yeah.
I see.
Which is exactly what he said, right? Like it's we're going to have Teferi tick up and tick down and tick up and tick down.
Yep.
And there's the Lightning
And
Helix.
there's the Lightning Helix. Oy,
Brap.
thanks.
Brap-a-pap-pap.
Is that the sound the Lightning Helix makes?
That's the shots that Daniel just find.
Yeah. Skibbity bop.
exactly the sound of the lightning.
Blekekekeke.
No, that's the fox.
That's what the fox
That
says.
is what
but
the
yeah.
fox says. Which
This is turning out to be a long game.
yeah.
I don't know, like who do you feel is advantaged? Is probably Hendrik just on board in this position, but it definitely feels close enough that Daniel could swing this in one turn, if he is able to find something big
I
for
mean,
himself, like a Murktide to fly over.
I would say
these dudes.
Hendrik here is in the advantage stage, but Daniel just took off his glasses and rubbed his nose, and that's a very anime
It
protagonist.
is a tell, yeah.
Kind of coming back move. So I trust Daniel can very much pull this one out. So let's see.
I would never count Daniel out, especially when he's on Jeskai.
Especially when he
He's
just
a great player.
took off his
and,
glasses and put them back
when
on.
he takes off his glasses and looks into your eyes with those magnificent irises of his, who can resist?
Who can withstand?
Who can withstand?
And
And there is a Murktide. Exiling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for 5. Yeah, that's right.
I mean-
it looks like 4 or 5. No, 5 counters, and that's a serious clock with that Ancient Tomb that has been dealing damage to Hendrik all this time.
That Merc be
Let's
tiding
see if-
until I regent.
Who up? Working their tide. Yeah, let's see if Hendrik has the removal spell from his
Yeah,
Murktide.
he's living life,
Otherwise,
baby.
he's looking pretty dead.
Yeah, Ancient Tomb. Ancient Tomb
Does have a downside.
is such a
It's
beautiful
crazy.
card, but it's just like sometimes you get lost in your greed. You get lost in your beautiful 2-mana pattern, and then I've been there so many times. I've been there so many times where I've tapped my Ancient Tomb away. It garnered me so much advantage against a tempo/control deck, and then they're like, cool, yeah. Board stall. Here's a
Price
Murktide
of
to-
progress.
Price of progress. No. But especially the Murktide region, because like once when
Down to
you're
9.
at 10 live, that Murktide region is just killing you so quick.
Yeah, he's dead in a single turn on this current board state. That's a grist. Okay, wow. Yeah,
Well,
that was a huge find.
a
Let's
year,
see if Daniel has a daze of force. No, that
nothing,
grist is resolving. Okay.
and that means
Well,
that
that complicates things.
it complicates things. But also, um, that Elvish Mystic, unless he plays another card or creature that Hendrik wants to sack, um, well, it's not going to attack that Teferi, and so that Teferi can tick down and bounce something.
Yeah, you're right. We'll be able to bounce something.
And draw a card.
Karaka's mana still open.
Yeah.
This is a super interesting spot. Okay,
Mm.
so you grist, you sack the Elvish Mystic. Do you want to Augur of Augur of Bolus? Augur
Uh,
of Autumn first? No, okay. And that Murktide is gone. That has to feel rough for Daniel now.
well, that's tough indeed. But I think at
He does
least,
de-equip. Wow, shields down,
well,
bounces.
but now Teferi dies. Dies, I'm not sure, but like at least gets hit so hard.
Yeah.
Um,
I think you let Teferi die and kill the Grist with this
I think
cat token.
well,
Oh no, but there's the white has Vigilance.
it
So yeah,
indeed
Teferi going down
has.
to 2.
And there is
These
the
Lightning Greaves have been like the key card of the game.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Next best card you're not playing.
Well, I mean, it was a card we used to play. I think it's a card maybe you should start playing again. That could be our segment. The best card you've stopped playing.
The best card you stop playing. I wonder. I mean, who are we talking to? We're talking about Mr. Lightning Angel Daniel, who does not stop playing cards when they get, let's say, below mediocre.
Still yet to see a Lightning Angel hit the board though.
One of the two, you mean?
Well, yeah, I guess I'll take either one, but preferably the original.
Is Aragorn King of Gondor a Lightning Angel?
No.
Okay.
He doesn't fly. What are you talking about?
He does do a lot of other things, but it certainly doesn't fly. Is
He
okay?
does?
Is Seasoned Dungeon
Okay.
a Lightning Angel?
No, what?
It has
No.
evasion, basically.
What? No, stop. Yeah, Dorothy Voidwalker's also Lightning Angel. You know, it's insane takes.
Okay. Is Dragon's Rage
The best
Channeler?
take you're not playing.
Is Dragon's Rage Channeler Lightning Angel?
Dragon's Rage Channeler is the closest of any of the ones that you've said to a Lightning Angel because it actually flies and it attacks for 3, but
Yeah.
no. It is not a Lightning Angel.
If
It
Daniel
will
had,
be able to help Daniel filter his draws here to hopefully find something to deal with one of these million problems that have
3
manifested.
big threats. I mean Dragon's Rage Channeler. No, I can't do it. I wanted to make another comparison to Lightning Angel, but it's just not. It just is not.
Just for once, I have to side with Daniel here. I think.
Okay.
You know, usually I'm ragging on him for fun, but
But not
out
this
of
time.
love, you know.
Oh, there you go.
this
My
spot.
thought was if Daniel had a Lightning Greaves, then that
Oh,
Dragon's Rage
then
Channeler
it
would
would be a
basically
Lightning
be
Angel.
Lightning Angel.
I will give you that. Yes.
Okay.
If you equipped Dragon's Reach Chandler with Lightning Greaves and it had Delirium, it would be an honorable Lightning Angel.
Cool. Even though it didn't have vigilance.
Yeah, that's okay.
Cool.
We'll give a
Cool.
pass.
We'll give a pass for the no vigilance. Speaking of giving a pass, that Gris just gave that insect a hall pass, letting it pass onto the board and piss all over.
Yeah? No?
No, yeah, that's
Yeah?
what's happening. Give me some cards. Give me some cards that Daniel could have to claw back in here.
Okay, I mean, I think Terminus still very much gets him back in the game at this point. Being able to wipe the board with just something like that, you know, a Supreme Verdict would also do it. Might be able to find something like a Flage to deal with a creature, you know, the Augur of Autumn or the Grist, and then come back next turn and give him the life that he needs to stay in this game. I think, you know, the Murktide was a card we already saw and talked about. An
Mm-hmm.
Oculus could also be
Oculus
a
could be
similar
nice.
card
Yeah.
to stall the board further and
And hit.
attack in the air,
Yeah.
you know. But he could also just be on Bolt Snap Bolt after he attacks with this Darcy for 3.
Fair. Fair. That's
That would
coming through the
definitely
air.
also be an out. But the advantages keep piling up here for Hendrik, who has now found a Shadow Spear off this altered Stoneforge
Mm-hmm.
Mystic, and that might just be the nail in the coffin, because
Absolutely.
putting that on, well, it can't go on the White of the Reliquary, that's shrouded, but
But
putting that on the Augur or something, gaining some life, offsetting this Ancient Tomb.
I think
Yes,
I
you were
think
going to say something, Mr.
there
Pletner?
is this one out for Daniel, which is to raise somehow get those 9 lives,
Mm.
but that's what
Yeah.
the best
Shadow
sword
Spear.
the best sword in the game, a Shadow Spear, is just going to shut down very easily. Interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I think again, all my good takes come from the mouth of the father. B. Wheeler once said, Shadow Spear is the best sword because it does this interesting thing where it both advances your game plan and it stops your opponent's game plan. And that, like, in this idea of like, well, you gain life, therefore stopping your opponent's game plan, and you get trample, therefore kind of eliminating any small blockers.
And then it also has this other text that rarely comes up, but when it does,
When it does, oh my
is it
god.
back-breaking. Yeah, we're gonna Caracas the Adani again.
Hey!
We have the Shadow Spear on the White of the Reliquary now. Now I looked away for a second. Did he
He
unequip
did
the
unequip.
Lightning Greaves?
I couldn't
Okay.
couldn't be able to tell you to which he equipped it, but it certainly was shuffled around.
Okay, so it was a legal play. Very good.
We-
And that White has got to be
that's
a massive
that's what
lad
this
now.
channel is known for. Legal plays.
Legal plays, paying attention to what is happening on screen at all moments. Definitely no green
Oh,
creatures
we also
being
have
searched up with.
We have both Tainted Pact and Eldamri's Call in Hendrik's hand, and Hendrik's just like, eh.
Yeah, I'll get it when I need it, you know. Yeah, Hendrik now in a commanding position, huge board state, Planeswalker in play, has the Monarchy, is gonna be adding counters to his creatures with this Court of Garenbrig,
Yeah.
has the Shadow Spear to gain him life, the White of the Reliquary to search up other lands should they be necessary, and
Oh, Dig
the
Through Time.
Eladamri's Call to find a creature that he might need, and then the Tainted Pact on top.
But Dig Through
So
Time, that's how it
this
starts.
Dig Through Time has got to be a good one.
That's how it
Yeah,
starts.
Yeah.
I do
Don't call it a comeback.
I do want to analyze the body language of Mr. Daniel Helwig, Daniel V.
Hmm.
Daniel V. Punkt.
Yeah.
Um,
D-dub.
so from him putting his head into his hands, I'm reading. What's that word?
Strength.
Power.
Strength, confidence,
Might.
ambition.
That too. Hope.
These
Strive.
are all the first adjectives I associate with Daniel.
With Daniel
like
putting his head into his hands. Yes, no, that's what I mean.
He's in a super tough spot here, and I understand if you're a bit I don't want to say tilted, but like it is kind of frustrating when he finally found this Murktide that was a legit threat,
Yeah,
and then
the grist.
it was dispatched not just by like a removal spell, but a grist,
By a
which
threat.
itself is another problem in
Yeah.
play. So has to be a bit frustrating, and he's really trying to fight his way through here,
Yeah.
dealing with the boots now. But that was all the mana for this turn, and trying to figure out maybe if he's not dead on board yet, but yeah, the boot's gone.
Yeah.
This white still massive, and we'll get to
Mhm.
live this turn unless there's a solitude
And then
in
Daniel-
hand, but I don't think that's the case.
Daniel has a Pyrogorph in hand. Pyrogorph, not big enough.
Okay.
Not big enough for this white. I don't think, right? It's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. It's a 2/2, so 6, 7. No.
Yeah, I mean, also if
Oh.
he was able to deploy another threat now, this Christ can
Sorry.
minus again.
I did. No. It looked like he had a Solitude in hand. Not sure.
Okay, that might be big gain. That might be the swing that he needs.
Yeah. Because then it would leave quote unquote, just the grist, the
Just the grist and
court.
the monarchy and the shadow spear
Wait,
and the
oh,
court of
Daniel
Garenbrig.
doesn't have delirium.
Yeah, no, this Darcy, he did have it, I
Yeah,
think, but then by playing that
dig through
dig
time.
through time, he dug away the delirium, helped get this Dragon's Rage Daniel some therapy, make him sane again. No more delirium on his mind, but unfortunately that also means he doesn't attack in the
No,
air like an insane
exactly. So
lightning
the
angel.
manic depression got cured.
And I
Yay!
mean, Daniel also
See,
is
there it is.
just behind on mana. There is the solitude. Yeah, okay. This is how it starts.
This is how it
Also has to
continues.
feel bad that he isn't able to just play another land and smack
Yeah,
that one onto the table for a
yeah.
2-for-1 because he's just so behind in resources now.
In
Jesus
everything,
Christ, he's at
two
25 life.
two cards in hand, like versus. Sorry, let's count the mana real quick. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. Oh, we're just doing this now. Sure.
Arbor.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's the Augur of Autumn coming in
Yeah.
handy, letting you play creatures and lands from the top of your deck.
Um,
Terms and conditions apply.
I think we are in Cradlehoof range.
Does he have
1,
foil
2,
insect
3, 4,
tokens?
5,
Yeah, you're right. He could go for the
6.
LL Damri's call for the Craterhoof now.
I think
That would be
so.
really cool to see that finished, even though, super sad to see my boy Daniel get knocked out like that. But Hoof
Where it
doing the Hoof
is?
thing. Hmm?
Where is it?
Uh, there it is.
Oh, there it is. I think the best play. Oh yeah,
There.
it is.
Sorry.
No, we did it.
Sorry,
We did
where?
it. We did it. Read it.
We did it. Okay.
We did it.
We did it justice. Yeah.
Tapping that, guys.
Creature of
Count your mana.
Behemoth's gonna come in here for basically just tapping the lands with that Ancient Tomb and the Gaia's Cradle. That
Mm-hmm.
should be enough to get this boy into play. It's a 5/5 trample haste, already pretty nice there. Although for 8 mana, that's a bit
It's
overcosted. So it does
pricey.
also have this slight extra text, which gives all your creatures +X/+X and I think trample.
Which is gonna be yeah. And there's the handshake. There's the reveal of garbage in the hand. The bolt, yes, but not enough.
Yeah, not enough. Yeah, I mean, if that Shadow Spear hadn't come in,
Yeah.
this might have been a very different game with
The
Bolt and
Pyroglyph.
Pyroglyph
Yeah.
going face and the Darcy attacking there. But rough position for Daniel from what feels like, most of the game he was slightly behind, but then just incremental
Yeah.
advantages that kept stacking on top of each other. The lightning greaves making it impossible to remove this massive white. We had the fun mini game of bouncing the Ajani and replaying
I
it.
think there was this really like this soul crushing moment where Daniel kept having different outs like ahead of him, being like,
Mm.
okay, maybe I can finagle my way around so that I could minus my Teferi.
Yeah,
Maybe if this Murktide stays, I can kill him. Maybe if he
yeah,
doesn't gain life, I can Pyroglyph bolt him to death. And then for each of those glimmers of hope, for each of those lights at the end of the tunnel, Hendrik found a different shutter, a different thing to be like, actually, you know what?
yeah.
Nope.
And I mean, the crazy thing is he actually did still have all these with
He
that
did have all this.
Eladamri's call and Tainted Pact in hand for just a solution for any problem, and that's kind of what that hoof deck is able to do with powering out, with green mana dorks, any type of toolbox card that you might want from Knight of Autumn to Moloch to, just huge things like this white and Knight of the Reliquary, which also fetch out the lands that happen to counter what your opponent is doing, or maybe get stage depths.
That's so funny. I'm really curious about that list. I'm really curious to look at that list. Maybe try to play it myself because it looks like a very interesting deck where you have many different
The
lines.
hoof list?
The hoof list, yeah. Hendrik's Bloodhoof.
Yeah, we'll hope to be able to get that one. As of right now, I haven't been able to acquire the list.
Well, we'll send our agents of acquisition around.
Yes,
Shoutouts to
as
the
opposed to
agency.
the agent of opposition that was trying to attack. But props to him. Like he played this one well, and I mean, you see his experience with the deck, knowing what to get in what spot.
Yeah,
And
indeed.
I'm sure that next time we see Daniel on cam, he's going to be smashing it again, like he did me in round one.
Well,
He also is a master of this Jeskai list, and sometimes, things don't go your way, but that's not necessarily representative of the amount of just skill and passion that he has put into this list.
that's very true. That's very fair.
Yeah.
Well,
Any other closing thoughts, Gerion, or shall we wrap this one
I
up?
think we can wrap this one up. I think. Do I have any closing thoughts? I think I just find it very nice to see two people on lists that they very much love and play a bunch. To see all the energy put into their respective lists and their
Yeah.
respective plays. Like just having a pet deck and having played with that forever, I think is something very, very nice.
That's part
and
of the reason we
special.
love Furolander,
Exactly,
right?
special about the format.
Yeah.
Indeed. All right.
Well, then, thank you so much for joining me.
It's my pleasure.
You've been Gerion, I've been Nemi,
That's how that
and
works.
we'll hope to see you again soon on the channel with another round of European Highlander. Until then, take care.